Now another quiet story begins. It is called The Painted Fan. Let your thoughts grow still and listen. A deep sleep story, soft and unhurried. Imagine a small town in ancient China, resting beside a slow, quiet river. Stone paths winding between wooden houses. Lanterns glowing faintly in the evening air. During the day, the town is gentle. Merchants open their doors. Voices rise and fall along the streets. Children pass through narrow alleys, their laughter light and brief. Life is simple, peaceful, or so it seems. And when night comes, the light fades from the sky. The air grows cool. The streets grow empty. Doors close one by one. The town becomes still. The river reflects the moon above, soft and clear. The world rests in quiet. At the far end of the town, there stands a small study. Its windows dim, its door often closed. Inside lives a young scholar named Wen. He is thoughtful and quiet by nature. He spends his days among books and his nights in silence. He does not seek company. He does not wander far. Instead, he remains within his study, where the sound of turning pages fills the air. His life is calm, ordered, unchanging. And yet, there are moments when even quiet lives begin to shift. One evening, as the last light slipped from the sky, Wen returned home along the river path. The water moved slowly beside him, soft and steady in the fading light. The town had already grown quiet. Few people remained outside. The lanterns flickered gently, casting long shadows along the stone road. Wen walked without hurry, his steps light, his thoughts distant. Then, something caught his eye. At the edge of the path, resting against the base of a low wall, there was an object. Small, still, easy to miss. Wen slowed his steps. He looked again. It was a fan, folded, its surface pale beneath the lantern light. He paused. For a moment, he simply stood there. There was no one nearby, no sign of who it might belong to. The night remained quiet. The river moved softly beside him, and the fan remained where it was. Wen stepped closer. He bent slightly and picked it up. The wood felt smooth in his hand, cool, but not cold. He turned it gently. The paper surface was clean, unmarked from the outside. But something about it felt unusual, not strange, not unsettling, only different. For a moment, Wen considered leaving it behind. But the thought passed. He held it lightly and continued home. The lanterns flickered behind him. The river whispered beside him, and the quiet night followed him as he carried the fan into his study. The study was quiet. The door closed softly behind him. Wen set the fan upon his table. For a moment, he did nothing. The room felt calm, familiar, the same as it had always been. A single lamp rested near the corner, its light soft and steady, casting a warm glow across the wooden surface. Shadows settled along the walls. Nothing moved, nothing changed. And yet, the fan remained, still and waiting. Wen sat down slowly, his movements unhurried. He placed his hands upon the table and looked at it. The fan lay folded before him, simple, unremarkable, and yet something about it drew his attention. Not strongly, not urgently, but gently, like a thought that returns without reason. For a moment, he simply watched. Then, slowly, he reached out his hand. His fingers touched the smooth wood, cool and quiet beneath his skin. He lifted it carefully, turning it once, then again. There was no mark upon the outside, no sign of its origin, no name, no pattern, only plain paper, folded with care. Wen paused, then gently he opened it. The folds spread slowly, one by one, until the fan rested fully open in his hand. And there, upon its surface, a painting, simple at first glance, soft brush strokes, light and careful, a small garden set beneath a pale sky, a narrow path winding through low trees, leaves drifting lightly across the ground. And near the center, a figure, a young woman, standing beside a quiet pool, her robe long and flowing, her posture calm, as if she had been there for a long time. Her face was turned slightly away, not hidden, but not fully revealed. Her presence was gentle, still. Wen looked at the painting, quietly, without speaking. There was nothing unusual about it, nothing that demanded attention, and yet he did not look away. The brushwork was delicate, each line placed with care. The water in the painting seemed soft, almost real in its stillness. The leaves appeared light, as if they might drift at any moment, and the woman remained as she was, silent, unmoving. For a long while, Wen simply sat there, the fan open in his hands, the lamp flickering gently beside him, the room unchanged. But slowly, very slowly, something shifted. The air felt softer, warmer. The quiet deepened. Wen blinked once, then again. He leaned slightly closer. The painting had not changed. Not clearly. Not in any way he could name. And yet, it felt different. The water seemed deeper. The shadows beneath the trees, a little darker. The figure, just slightly more present. Wen remained still, his breath slow, his gaze steady. He did not move the fan. He did not speak. He only watched. And for a moment, it felt as though the world beyond the painting had grown distant, as if the small garden within the fan had drawn a little closer. Then the lamp flickered. Softly, the light shifted along the paper. The illusion faded. The room returned. The study as it had always been. The fan remained in his hands. The painting unchanged. Quiet. Still. Wen leaned back slightly. The moment passed, but the feeling remained. Faint and difficult to name. He closed the fan slowly, the folds coming together one by one, until it rested once more, small and simple in his hand. For a moment, he considered setting it aside, forgetting it. But he did not. Instead, he placed it carefully beside his books, within reach. The lamp burned low. The night deepened. And though the room remained unchanged, Wen found that his thoughts returned, again and again, to the quiet figure within the painted fan. The night grew deeper. The lamp burned low beside the table. Wen remained seated, quiet and still. The fan rested near his hand, closed, unmoving. And yet, his thoughts did not leave it. For a long while, he did nothing. He listened to the quiet room, the faint sound of the lamp, the soft stillness of the night. Then, slowly, he reached for the fan again. Not with urgency, not with need, but gently, as if answering a quiet thought. He lifted it. The wood felt the same, smooth and cool beneath his fingers. He opened it once more, the folds spreading softly until the painting revealed itself again. The small garden, the narrow path, the quiet pool, and the woman standing where she had been before, still, silent, unchanged. Wen looked at the painting, calm, patient. For a moment, nothing happened. The image remained as it was, the brushstrokes still, the water unmoving, the leaves resting upon the ground. Then, very slowly, something shifted. Not clearly, not all at once, but gently, like a breeze passing across still water. The leaves within the painting moved, only slightly, barely enough to notice. Wen did not blink. He did not move. He watched. The movement faded. The leaves settled once more. The image returned to stillness. For a moment, it seemed as though nothing had happened. Only a trick of light. Only a passing thought. And yet, the feeling remained. Wen leaned slightly closer. The lamp flickered softly beside him. Its light brushed across the painted surface. The water seemed to deepen. The shadows beneath the trees grew softer. And the woman shifted. Just a little. Her head turned. Slowly. Until her face came into view. Wen felt his breath pause. Her expression was calm. Her eyes quiet. But now, they were no longer turned away. They faced him. Not directly, not fully, but enough. Enough to be seen. Enough to be felt. For a long moment, neither moved. The room remained still. The night unchanged. And yet, something passed between them. Silent, soft, difficult to name. The woman did not step forward. She did not speak. She only stood there, within the painted garden, her gaze resting quietly beyond the paper, as if she could see him, as if she had always been aware. Wen did not speak. He did not lower the fan. He simply remained, watching, listening, waiting. Then, the lamp flickered again. The light shifted. The painting softened. The woman's form grew still. Her gaze turned away once more. The leaves settled. The water stilled. Everything returned. The garden quiet. The figure unmoving, just as it had been before. Wen leaned back slowly. The moment passed, but not completely. Something remained. A quiet presence. A memory that had not been there before. He closed the fan gently, the folds meeting one by one, until the painting disappeared from view. The room returned to its quiet state, the lamp dim, the air still. But Wen did not rise. he did not return to his books. Instead, he sat there for a long while, his thoughts resting not on the world around him, but on the quiet figure within the painted fan. The study remained quiet. The lamp burned low beside the table. Wen sat where he was, still and thoughtful. The fan rested before him, closed, simple, unchanged. And yet, it no longer felt ordinary. For a long while, he did not move. The night deepened around him, soft and unbroken. At last, he reached for the fan once more, slowly, carefully, as if the moment itself required silence. He opened it, the folds spreading gently until the painted garden appeared again. The trees, the quiet pool, the narrow path, and the woman. She stood where she had always been, still, calm. But now, there was something different. Not in her form, not in the brushstrokes, but in the feeling, as if the space between them had grown smaller. Wen looked at her, quietly, without speaking. The lamp flickered beside him, its light soft across the paper. For a moment, nothing changed. Then slowly, very slowly, the woman turned her head. Not fully, not suddenly, but enough. Enough to face him once more. Her gaze was calm, her expression gentle. There was no sadness, no fear, only a quiet stillness, as if she had been waiting, as if she understood. Wen did not move. He did not speak. The moment held, soft and complete. Then, the faintest movement. Her hand lifted, just slightly, not reaching, not calling, only rising, as though to acknowledge him. The gesture was small, almost too small to notice, and yet it remained. For a long moment, they stayed as they were, separated by paper, by silence, and yet not entirely apart. Then the lamp flickered, the light shifted, the painted surface softened. The woman's hand lowered, her gaze drifted away. Slowly, she returned to stillness. The garden quiet once more, the water unmoving, the leaves at rest. Wen watched, without turning away, as the moment faded, as the feeling slowly passed, until at last there was only the painting. Simple, silent, unchanged. He closed the fan gently. the folds meeting one by one, until it rested once more in his hand. For a moment, he remained seated, the room quiet around him, the night steady beyond the walls. Then slowly, he placed the fan upon the table, beside his books, within reach, but untouched. The lamp burned lower, the shadows deepened, the study returned to stillness. And yet, something within him had shifted, something quiet and lasting. In the days that followed, Wen returned to his usual life. He read, he wrote, he walked along the river at dusk. The town remained as it had always been, calm, unchanging. And yet, on certain evenings, when the light was soft and the world felt especially quiet, he would open the fan and look upon the painted garden. The woman would stand there, as she had before, still, silent, but never distant, not entirely. And though she did not move again, and the painting remained as it was, Wen found that he did not mind. Some things were not meant to change, only to be remembered. The night deepened. The river flowed softly beside the town. The lanterns dimmed one by one, and the quiet returned, gentle and complete. Another quiet story begins. Our story is called The Bell of the Empty Temple. Let your thoughts grow still and listen. A deep sleep story, soft and unhurried. Imagine a quiet valley in ancient China, surrounded by low mountains and narrow paths that wind through tall trees. A small village rests at the base of the hills, its houses simple, its streets calm. During the day, life moves slowly. Farmers walk the fields. Smoke rises from cooking fires. Voices drift gently through the air. Life is simple, peaceful, or so it seems. And when night falls, the light fades from the sky. The air grows cool. The village becomes still. The mountains stand in shadow. The trees no longer move. Everything rests in silence. And yet, on certain nights, when the sky is clear and the air feels especially quiet, a sound can be heard. Faint, distant. A bell ringing from somewhere high in the mountains. Slow and steady, one tone at a time. The villagers hear it, but they do not speak of it often. Some say it comes from an old temple, hidden deep among the hills, a place long abandoned, a place no one visits. Others say there is no temple at all, only the sound, carried by the wind. But the bell does not ring every night, only sometimes, only when the valley is completely still. And when it does, those who listen closely say, it does not sound empty. It sounds as if someone is there, waiting, listening, ringing the bell for no one who can be seen. And so the village sleeps, while the sound drifts through the mountains, soft and steady, beneath the quiet night. In that quiet village, there lived a young man named Liang. He was calm by nature and thoughtful in his ways. He did not speak often. He did not rush his days. Most evenings, after his work was done, he would step outside and stand beneath the open sky. He would listen, not for anything in particular, only to the quiet, the wind through the trees, the distant sound of water, the stillness of the valley at night. It was a habit he kept without thinking, and on most nights, nothing changed. The same soft air, the same quiet sky, the same peaceful silence. But on one evening, as the moon rose clear above the hills, Liang heard something, a sound, faint and far away. He lifted his head slightly and listened. There it was again, a bell, slow and steady. One tone, then silence, then another. Liang remained where he stood. The sound did not fade. It continued, drifting down from the mountains. Not loud, not urgent, only present. He had heard others speak of it, in passing, quietly, without detail. Now he heard it for himself. For a moment, he did not move. The sound felt distant, yet clear, as if it came from a place not far away, but hidden. Then slowly, he took a step forward. The ground beneath his feet was firm, the night air cool against his skin. The bell rang again, soft and even. Liang walked toward the edge of the village. The houses grew fewer. The light behind him dimmed. The path ahead opened toward the hills. He did not hurry. There was no need. The sound did not call him. It did not pull. And yet, he continued. Step by step, the village faded behind him. The road narrowed. The trees grew taller. Their shadows stretched across the ground. The bell rang again, clear and steady. Liang followed the sound, not directly, not with certainty, only in its direction, as if the path itself was guiding him. The air grew cooler as he climbed. The valley below grew quiet. The last traces of the village disappeared. For a moment, he paused. The path ahead was dim. The trees stood close together. The mountain rose before him. But the bell continued, soft, unchanging. Liang listened. Then slowly, he stepped forward again and continued into the hills. The bell stood before him, still, unmoving, and yet it rang again. A single tone, deep and calm. Liang did not step back. He did not speak. He simply stood and listened. The sound did not echo. It did not fade. It settled into the air, then disappeared. For a moment, there was only silence. Then, once more, the bell rang. Slow, steady, unchanging. Liang's gaze remained fixed upon it. The dark surface, the quiet frame. No rope, no movement, no sign of a hand. And yet, the sound continued. For a long while, he remained there, not searching, not questioning, only listening, as if the sound itself was enough, as if nothing more was needed. Then slowly, something shifted, not in the bell, not in the room, but within him. The need to understand grew quiet. The question faded. The sound remained, and that was enough. Liang lowered his gaze slightly. Then after a moment, he turned, slowly, without hesitation. The temple behind him remained still. The bell did not stop. It continued to ring, softly, steadily, as he stepped away. He walked across the wooden floor. No sound followed him. The doorway waited ahead, dark and open to the night. He stepped outside. The mountain air met him gently, cool, soft, and familiar. Behind him, the bell rang once more, then again. Faint now, distant, carried through the trees. Liang did not turn back. He walked down the path. Step by step, the temple disappeared behind him. The sound grew softer, until at last it became part of the night. The trees stood still. The wind moved lightly through their branches. The valley lay quiet below. Liang continued down the mountain, unhurried, calm. as if the path had always been waiting for him. When he reached the village, everything was as it had been. The houses quiet, the doors closed, the night undisturbed. He did not speak of the temple. He did not return. But sometimes, on nights when the air is still and the world feels especially quiet, he would pause and listen. And far away, beyond the hills, he would hear it. The bell, slow, steady, unchanging. And he would stand there for a moment, not searching, not questioning, only listening, as if the sound itself was enough, as if the quiet had found him. The night deepens, soft and still, the world resting gently around you, and nothing more is needed. Just the quiet, just the breath, just the slow passing of time, until even the sound of the bell fades into silence, and sleep comes softly, like a calm and distant echo, drifting quietly into stillness. The bell stood before him, still, unmoving, and yet it rang again, a single tone, deep and calm. Liang did not step back. He did not speak. He simply stood and listened. The sound did not echo. It did not fade. It settled into the air, then disappeared. For a moment, there was only silence. Then, once more, the bell rang. Slow, steady, unchanging. Liang's gaze remained fixed upon it. The dark surface, the quiet frame. No rope, no movement, no sign of a hand. And yet, the sound continued. For a long while he remained there, not searching, not questioning, only listening, as if the sound itself was enough, as if nothing more was needed. Then slowly, something shifted. Not in the bell, not in the room, but within him. The need to understand grew quiet. The question faded. The sound remained, and that was enough. Liang lowered his gaze slightly. Then, after a moment, he turned, slowly, without hesitation. The temple behind him remained still. The bell did not stop. It continued to ring, softly, steadily, as he stepped away. He walked across the wooden floor. No sound followed him. The doorway waited ahead, dark and open to the night. He stepped outside. The mountain air met him gently, cool, soft, and familiar. Behind him, the bell rang once more. Then again, faint now, distant, carried through the trees. Liang did not turn back. He walked down the path. Step by step, the temple disappeared behind him. The sound grew softer until at last it became part of the night. The trees stood still. The wind moved lightly through their branches. The valley lay quiet below. Liang continued down the mountain, unhurried, calm, as if the path had always been waiting for him. When he reached the village, everything was as it had been. The houses quiet, the doors closed, the night undisturbed. He did not speak of the temple. He did not return. But sometimes, on nights when the air is still and the world feels especially quiet, he would pause and listen. And far away, beyond the hills, he would hear it. The bell, slow, steady, unchanging. And he would stand there for a moment, not searching, not questioning, only listening, as if the sound itself was enough, as if the quiet had found him. The night deepens, soft and still, the world resting gently around you, and nothing more is needed. Just the quiet, just the breath, just the slow passing of time, until even the sound of the bell fades into silence, and sleep comes softly, like a calm and distant echo, drifting quietly into stillness.